Good afternoon and welcome to the Returning Youth Initiative, Volusia County, Florida, and WPAT radio live to over 10 million homes. I love saying that. 10 million homes in New York and the New York metropolitan area. You can listen to us on the radio if you're in New York, but if you're not in New York, you can listen to us live at WPAT930am.com. But if you would like to see us, and I encourage you to do so, please join us on Facebook because we are Facebook Live. And that is at facebook.com/Returning Youth Initiative. And we'll also be sharing this on YouTube once we record it. And what we're doing today is I want to share, because this is a very exciting day for me and what we're going to be doing. It's exciting to me that we're sharing it is the Dr. Sergio Connors Returning Youth Women's Empowerment Roundtable. And basically, I just want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, I've met these women and my heart just broke and melted because of their stories, which it's incredible. And I think everybody should hear these stories. But if I can be so bold, I think women need to hear these stories because these are women who've gone through some significant situations and they've become out of it very victorious. Our roundtable, it's a dynamic forum. We're going to be going around. We're on live, we're on Facebook, and we're also on the radio, but sharing information about all these wonderful women. I'll be introducing them shortly, talking about their leadership, mental health issues, overcoming obstacles, sexual health issues that are very serious. And this is part of Dr. Connor's Returning Youth Initiative. He's not able to be with us today, but he's the founder of the Returning Youth Initiative, which is a nationwide initiative. And he's just not able to be here with us today. So with that being said, I want to at least go through the wonderful women that are here, but I'm not going to give a formal introduction. I'm going to give a personal introduction of what these women meant to me. And my first person I'm going to talk to is Stephanie Harrington. I love her icon here at the bottom. My husband robbed the bank. Stephanie was abused as a young woman. Her husband robbed the bank, and shockingly, he ended up in jail, which was actually no surprise to her. And you know what? If you have someone in jail, if you have a relative who is having issues with the law, I think you should listen closely to Stephanie and what she has to say, because I'll jump to the end. She's still married to this wonderful man, and I'm very happy to say that. So it's a very interesting story. Phebe, Fuqua, she's speaking Victory Over Death. I can't even begin to tell you how inspiring and how intense the story is. And I'm not even going to try. She has basically had a death sentence on her life more than once. And I think anybody out there who's having a health issue, who is afraid or worried about their particular lives or the life of the relatives, they should listen to Phebe, what she has to say, because she gets some phenomenal advice on what we should do when we're having health issues. So it's very moving stuff. And last, and of course not least, Erica Rivera, sexual safety. Erica, my heart goes out to you. This poor woman was attacked, abused 3 times, sexually abused 3 times in her life. But she's come out of it, and she's actually formed an organization. And we're going to start with you, Erica. And her organization is the National Care Foundation. So without any background, I would like Erica, please tell us about yourself.
So my name is Erica Rivera, and like Gary said, I am the founder of the National Care Foundation. CARE stands for Center for Advocacy, Resources, and Equity. And we work closely with sexual assault and domestic violence survivors, and we provide education and do outreach throughout our community to avoid DV and SV violence. I myself am a survivor of both sexual assault and domestic violence, as well as childhood abuse and teen homelessness. So I have quite the story that I won't be able to fit in during this time, but just know I was abused as a kid, I was abused as a teen, and then I was abused in the military as well. So it was a lot. And I realized, especially in our local area here of the Flagler and Volusia area, there was a lack of resources, not just for teens as far as sex education, but there was also a lack of resources for recovering survivors as well. And that's what fueled the mission behind the National Care Foundation.
And what I love about your webpage here is, I love this, Erica, how to. Let's, how to cope with traumatic events, how to recognize the signs of domestic violence before it's too late, how to talk about sexual assault with your partner. So these are things that are not typically brought up in a dinner conversation. So we're gonna get to that shortly. Phoebe, I'd like to talk to you next, if you don't mind. Phebe Fuqua, please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Phebe Fuqua. I wear many hats. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I am the founder and president of Elite Eagle Developments. I'm a strategist, a mentor, a visionary, an author. I am an overcomer. I've had a death sentence a couple times with my health. I'm an overcomer of cancer, breast cancer. Also had cancer in my ovaries as well, and also an overcoming multiple sclerosis. I've overcame having 5 tumors on my brain, 3 on my cervical spine, losing function, wasn't able to walk, talk, or function, having multiple surgeries, going through various type of treatments. But through it all, God allowed me to rob the grave. And, I told God I wanted to die empty, and I am so full of life and full of a lot of things that God has in store for me to do. So I'm here. And if I go on and on, it will, just like Erica said, it's going to take a long time to go over all the moving pieces that my life, the things that I went through in my life. But I'm here, and I look forward to sharing my story.
Well, I just want to say to everybody, I want to make sure that we can give everybody's contact information out, so that if anyone listening has an issue, they can contact you. But I do want to say that you can join us at the Returning Youth Initiative. I want to at least give our website. And here is our website, returningyouth.com. Whoop, that's returningyouth.com. So please join us there. And if you have any questions, you can contact us there. But I do want to say one thing, Phoebe, before I go on, and I please tell us how people can get in touch with you.
Yes, so you can visit my website at phebedfuqua.com. And you can also contact me at 386-401-4181. So just look, I'm all on each social media platform. You can reach me there as well under the name.
So I have a simple question for you, Phoebe.
Sure.
And I'm going to have this question for everybody. If someone is having, for your specific issue, health problems, and they would need some, I guess, counseling, I'm not sure if that's the right word, they would contact you at phebedfuqua.com.
That's correct. So, and I would refer them over to the necessary resources that are out there and throughout the community. Because I'm not a licensed counselor or anything. I'm just one who advocates for various causes, and I can, direct people to the proper resources that they need.
And thank you. Now I want to talk to one other person here. I want to talk to Stephanie. How are you, Stephanie? We doing quick reviews here. Tell us about yourself.
Well, hi everyone. I am Stephanie Harrington. So my journey is unique. My journey has led me to become a published author and the CEO of Create Her Corp, which is a company dedicated to empowering women to reach their personal and professional aspiration. My story is one of resilience, transformation, and empowerment. I am a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, an experience that threatened the strength and core of who I am. Early on in my marriage, my husband's action led him to rob a bank, and that burden overwhelmed me with so much shame. I hid. And I hid for a long, long time. But today, the person that is speaking to you is one who have reclaimed her power and realized that we have the power within to transcend the narratives imposed upon us. So my dedication and my goal is to help other women overcome the shadows of their past.
I want to
And
jump
you can
in.
reach me at icreateher.com or icreateher.com or create her.
I create her.com. That was the website I just showed you. Now, I'm going to jump into like specific questions now for each of our wonderful speakers, and please make sure you get in contact with them. Erica, don't worry, make sure we can get your contact information out there. Listen, if you're having an issue, you don't even have to be a female. We have tremendous speakers here talking about sexual health, physical and mental health, and abuse and other families. Please contact them because they're here to help you. So let me jump into you, Stephanie. First question is, how can you strengthen or empower women that are in your circle?
Gary, you lead by example. It's not enough to just tell people what to do if you've not experienced it yourself. There's more power behind that. So for me, leading by example looks like personal development. It looks like investing in myself. It's wanting more of yourself and taking the different steps to come out of the narrative. I'm all about the narrative imposed upon us. So basically, in order to empower other women, I lead by example by doing the hard stuff, and so that they could see it and model that for them.
Now, you had, which kind of blows my mind, you woke up one morning, we're going to go through this quickly. Everybody has a long story. You wake up one morning and something very unusual, which almost nobody ever experienced, happened to you very quickly. What happened?
Oh, so I wake up one morning. Actually, I was going on a field trip because I was in school. I was on, I did nuclear medicine. I was doing a field trip. And me and my husband were separated at the time, and I dropped off my baby, and he kissed me and he said, "Just remember that I love you." It seemed kind of weird, but it was, I just left because that was not on the top of my head. But while I was there, I got the phone call that you're not going to believe what happened. He robbed a bank. And at that point, I thought it was a joke. I'm like, this is not real. Like, this is not real, but it was my reality and I had to deal with it. And at that point of my life, I didn't know if it was the beginning or the end of me, but that has definitely helped shape our life today.
And you're still with that man today. He's still your husband, right?
Yes, I am.
That's a great story. Listen, if you're having issues with your marriage, with a family member, listen to Stephanie's story. You can go to her website. One more time, let's give it again. What's your website, Stephanie?
icreateher.com.
There it is. And you wrote a book, Evolve?
Yes, evolve, activate the gift within, and create her magic, empowering young girls.
Thank you. Wonderful. I want to go to Erica because I forgot to to mention you, how do people get in contact with you if you or a family member? Now she has a national organization, so we're in New York, even though we're in Florida, this radio station is going to New York. You have a sexual issue. Erica, tell us a little bit about that and how to get in contact with you.
Absolutely. So even though we are headquartered in Florida, it is a national organization. And if you need to speak with a victim's advocate, then I would highly recommend that you call 386-287-1845. You can also email me directly, Erica with a C, at ntlcarefoundation.org. You can also go online at ntlcarefoundation.org and find the contact information there, as well as those blog posts. And we also have a support group every other Tuesday evening. So that all that information can be found there as well. And the support group is virtual, so you can tune in and join us with it's a peer-to-peer intimate partner violence support group for survivors. So really you can join from anywhere.
One more time, National Care Foundation is NTL Care Foundation, NTL Care
Correct.
Foundation. Now,
yeah. And on all socials, it's the same as well. NTL Care Foundation on all social media platforms.
That's excellent. I always advise people to do this. Tell us quickly again. I hate to say quickly, I apologize.
It's okay.
But, your story, because it is quite riveting. I mentioned you were abused. I don't know if that's the correct term, attacked. I'm not quite sure. 3 times. It's better if you tell the story.
Yes. So in summary, I was molested at 6 years old by a family member.
6 years.
And then I was raped when I was 17, and I was homeless at the time. So I was homeless. A 17-year-old was raped by someone that I did not know, who pulled me into his vehicle. And that's how I lost my virginity. So it was a huge, definitely traumatic experience. And then I joined the military shortly after and was sexually assaulted by a female recruit. So each one of those experiences have played a part in who I am today. And like I said, those experiences are what fueled my mission behind the National Care Foundation. I didn't want to see anyone else struggle the way I did through those experiences. You know, I was someone that was supposed to go to Harvard Medical School. I had straight A's, you know, I had all these big lofty dreams, and they all kind of came to a halt because of the homelessness, the abuse, everything that was going on. And, you know, at any point in time, I could have easily given up. I saw other people around me going through similar experiences, giving up, and somehow I never did. Phoebe, you mentioned God earlier, and that's been a huge thing for me too. I think that had I not found my faith during that time, I'm not sure that I could have kept going. But I have, and here I am helping others and making sure that they have a victim's advocate by their side. I'm also a certified sexual health educator. I do feel that one of the biggest parts of sexual assault prevention is sex education, and that's something that we don't talk about often, especially at home with our families. We don't talk about it as much in school as we should. And I also feel like we don't talk about it in places of worship. And, you know, I think that topic should be in those places.
Well,
I don't think we should be afraid of that. Absolutely.
And you got abused at a very young age, as a teenager, and then as an adult, 3 different times. What are some key aspects of sexual safety, sexual education? I mean, that parents should be aware of. There's the internet. There's so much out there for kids to look at. What safety do you recommend for parents of young kids?
I think, you know, when it comes to some of those key aspects, parents should prioritize open communication, as well as consent education. That's a big one, you know, talking to them about consent and what that means, understanding boundaries, teaching about contraception and protection methods. I mean, obviously the safest sex is going to be abstinence, but I think it's really important that you talk to your adolescents about protection methods and addressing the importance of healthy relationships. And, when it comes to safety, that responsibility is for both partners. And so I think parents should be talking to their kids about that too.
To
Is that
them,
it
to
is
their
a-
male, to their male, to
Yes.
their sons, the sons should have respect for women.
Absolutely. Because there is a lot of pressure for, the women to do XYZ. But it is the responsibility of both genders to make sure that consent and boundaries are being respected for sure.
Thank you. We'll come back to you. Phoebe, I wanted to ask you a question. You went through some some of the most serious health issues I've ever heard of anybody. Please tell us about them and how would you recommend people handle their own health issues?
Ooh, mine started in the womb when when my mother was pregnant with me. I'm a twin, and my twin didn't make it by the 5th month. So being, in the stomach, in the womb of my mother, and with my dead twin, and then going through life, having being told at 18 I would never be able to have a child because I had really bad endometriosis, and I had malignant tumors on my ovaries, and it was a lot of moving pieces. So going through life, and it's like, wait a minute, what? And then fast forward, ended up with my ex-husband. We had 3 babies. God opened my womb. It was a miracle. All type of things happened. Fast forward from there, doing a presentation with staff, and I collapse, lose function. And then I'm going through various tests, find out, okay, ma'am, you have multiple sclerosis. Then the following year, finding a lump on my breast, you have breast cancer. So when I tell you I've been hit and hit and hit with different things, with the cancer and having cancer and multiple sclerosis at the same time, finding out that I have tumors on my brain, 5 on my brain, 3 on my cervical spine.
You had
eight
eight tumors?
5 on my brain and 3 on my cervical spine, absolutely. And it was something very, very traumatic because trying to raise babies. And I'm like, wow, being told that you won't be able to live, we can't help you. The medicines, one medicine causes cancer, the other one will cause a flare up with the multiple sclerosis. I'm still trying to keep my mental health intact because I have 3 children. Were looking at me like, why do you keep falling? What are you saying? Because we can't really understand what you're doing. Mommy, you're bleeding. And I didn't know because I cut myself and I couldn't feel. So it was a lot of moving pieces happening. And then dealing with going through a divorce with their father. So it was a lot to deal with. On top of the fact, going out, speaking, empowering people, functioning and having these businesses still going, jumping from leaving chemotherapy, hiding my port so no one can see that I just left, and trying to have a game face, still do ministries, still do all these moving parts because I made a promise to God. God, if you keep me and you give me life, I promise you I'm going to keep going because I want to die empty. I want to rob the grave. So many people die full. So many people die with all these dreams that they should have, could have, would have had because of a diagnosis. And, I recently spoke at an event. I said, starve your distractions and feed your focus. That's what I did. I was tunnel focused on what my purpose was in life. And that's what kept me going because I'm so full. And the day that I'm empty and the day that I pour out inspiring people and impacting people, that's when I would be able to just die.
Wow. That's quite
So,
a story. If you want to get in touch with Phoebe, you can go to PhebeDFuqua.com. Let me spell it. Phoebe is spelled Phebe. D for her middle initial. Fuqua, FUQUA.com. Thank you very much. We'll come back
You're
to
welcome.
you. We appreciate it. Stephanie, I want to get to your issue now, if you don't mind. what strengthened you? What empowered you? And what do you suggest can empower other women so they can be uplifted?
What empowered me was my internal motivation. I was determined to win. And it's funny that I say I was determined to win, because in reality, what I did was chose to lose. Now, let me explain what that means.
Please explain.
Choosing to lose is allowing yourself to let go. And when you let go, because anything you give attention to, it becomes bigger. And what we don't understand, what I didn't understand, that the things that I thought, the things that I thought that I was giving energy to, and the pity party and the shame and poor me, and I am a victim, and all that stuff that I felt like I deserve to feel the way I do, and I deserve to act act out what's going on in my life, because it was unfair. Life is unfair to me. I didn't know that what I was actually doing was creating more of it and making it bigger. So I had to choose to lose. I had to choose to let that go. And when I let that go, that's when I came alive. Now, spending time alone, in the Bible, it says that Jesus had to leave the 99 and go with the one. Sometimes you have to go by yourself and spend that time with yourself. And the greatest thing that ever helped me was reflection. It's going over your day. When we're young and going to school, teacher give us homework to do, and we're like, I don't want to do homework, but homework is really to go over the things that you learned for the day and to see if you got it. And if you didn't, then to say, I need some help in this. But what reflection does is the same thing with reflection, is when you go throughout your day and you realize that, wow, there was so much traffic in my mind, I was all over the place. My energy was so low, and the things that I was manifesting and I was creating, I did not want. And I wanted that thing to go away. So it's shifting my perspective and learning to lose and say, you know what, I'm letting go. And doing that is what allowed me to become better for myself and create a better story. I'm all about creating a better story. So I hope
You can contact Stephanie at icreateher.com. She's written a book. Pick it up, evolve, activate the gift within. You have a gift within you, whether you believe it or not. That's part of Stephanie's message. Live intuitively. When I do that, I usually trip and fall, but maybe it's good for other people. And then glow and grow. I like that. I used to work.
You got to enjoy the journey. You have to enjoy the journey.
Thank you very much. Now back, we'll come back to you, Stephanie. We're over to Erica again. Thank you. I'm trying to get to everybody here.
I just want to say I can definitely resonate, Stephanie, with that creating a better story. Because like I said earlier about like Harvard and everything, I used to be very, like, I would just literally be so down that, oh, all these things are happening to me and I'm not going to be able to go to college the way that I thought, or I'm not going to be able to do all these things. And once I learned to kind of let go of that and say, okay, what can I do with what has happened to me? That's the whole point, is creating a better story and impacting others in the process.
Yes, because you have the power within you to transcend the narrative.
Absolutely.
And the narrative is what the world's trying to tell you. That's your point.
The conditioning.
Yeah.
Erica, what resources or tools can parents utilize for their adolescents? And also, please tell us if someone is having or had been attacked. I'm sure that you have some advice for them.
Yeah. Okay. So first, the resources. Well, parents specifically can use reputable educational materials, books, websites, videos. I mean, contacting someone like myself, organizations that have resources for teenagers, especially when it comes to sexual health. You can look into local clinics, healthcare providers. You got to do that research. Make sure that they offer confidential and reliable sexual health services for adolescents, because it's it's a rarity. You know, and I also wanted to touch base on too, as far as like resources and how to have that conversation, you know, is creating a confidential and a non-judgmental, open-minded atmosphere for your teenager or your adolescent to have that conversation with you, making sure that you're actively listening and respecting their privacy, you know, because earlier, you know, we discussed that it is the responsibility of both partners. And one thing that we do tackle as well is LGBTQ issues. And that's an even harder conversation to have if your child is having that type of sexual concern. So making sure that you're respecting that privacy and actively listening is going to help them stay transparent with you. So my advice would be is absolutely being transparent. Transparency is everything. You know, making sure that you're being honest. If you are going through a sexual trauma or DV, domestic violence situation currently, I would say to make sure that you contact someone that can help you develop a safety plan, because a lot of people will just simply recommend leave that person or, you know, make this drastic change, and sometimes that can make the situation more dangerous. So it's important that you speak with an advocacy center, a victim's advocate, or another resource that can sit down with you and have a strategic plan, a safety plan in place if you're not able to do that yourself.
Thank you. That's good advice. And also visit her blogs. I mean, I love they're all how to cope with traumatic events. Hey, we never want our children to have traumatic events, but it does happen. What do you do once it does? In a quick synopsis, what suggestions would you have here, Erica?
Well, like there is in the blog, first of all is transparency. You know, you have to acknowledge your feelings, make sure you're being true to yourself. Recognize that there is an issue happening. You can't really do anything about it until you know yourself that there's a problem. The support system is very important. Like I mentioned before, finding a way to develop a safety plan. And after that, let's say that you have left that abusive situation, seeking professional help is really important. So someone like myself may refer you to either a psychologist or some kind of mental health counselor, depending on what traumatic event you've gone through. Now, I've also had people ask me, especially when it comes to sexual health education and healthy relationships and the prevention of trauma, would it be recommended that a couple seek couples counseling in the beginning of a relationship? I've gotten that question many times, and my answer is yes. Why not? I call it relationship maintenance. Why not have that outlet before any problems arise? You're able to tackle them as they come, as opposed to waiting until later. You know, normally I'll get couples into my office years after the initial problem, and they're seeking help when the relationship's falling apart. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I say, why not seek that guidance in the very beginning so that you're maintaining that healthy relationship and you can avoid some of these issues from arising.
And actually, I actually advocate, you know, I've been married 36 years. I advocate meet with your pastor if you have a pastor, and they do pre-marriage counseling. They ask simple questions like, what are your expectations? And the guy says, oh, I want to party. I want to do this. And the woman says, I want to have babies, and or I want to be a professional. So it's really
I will say spiritual health is definitely also important. I mean, mental, sexual, physical, but your spiritual health as well should all be connected.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to Phoebe here. Phoebe, how are you? I appreciate your patience here. How have you communicated your health condition and its impact on your family, your loved ones? I mean, what advice? This is so personal. Let's be honest. People get sick or the family gets sick and they just cut off communication with everybody else. That's kind of typical. Please give some advice.
Ooh, so I've been through the phases of cutoff. I withdrew myself from everyone for a period of time. And it was a short period of time because my circle of people were like, nope, I'm bringing you back. You can't die. Nope, where you going? What are you doing? Because it's so important to have that solid group of people, your core. That core can look like anything. My core was my family, my parents, a couple friends. Some of my friends fell off. Some of them are still around. And then some core people end up being people who I just, because I was smiling and very positive in the midst of dying, they were like, look, can I be a part of keep putting life into you? I've met doctors who I still have a good relationship with to this day, nurses and technicians that were in the medical research hospitals and stuff there. They were like, hey, I'm here just to give you this scripture. I'm here just to pump life in you or whatever. So it's so important to have those core people around you. Did I go withdraw myself? Yes. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, I was happy-go-lucky the whole time and positive. No, because there were moments where I was low and I had to remind myself that no, I shall live and not die. I'm going to keep pushing. And I had to understand my purpose. And worship was what really kept me going. And as being a worship leader, minister of worship at my church, that was one of parts of my therapy. So the doctor, one of the doctors asked me, what is something that can pump life into you? Because you're spiritually, emotionally, physically, you're just not saying much. And I was just like, well, I love music. I love singing and worshiping. And so they brought in a piano, a keyboard from, so I don't know where they found this keyboard from in the hospital. And they brought it in my room and I just began to play. And you have to find people around you who knows what's going to ignite life into you, who's going to say, no, be like that defibrillator and just, nope, let's go. Let's plug it in and pump life back into you. And that's what it was. And understand your core value, understand what keeps you functioning. And it's okay, because I'm in the process of writing a book, processing through booster detachments and people come in your life for a reason, season, in a lifetime, and being okay with a goodbye. And those goodbyes can just be like, you've been in this level of my life, and now I have to transition out because everybody can't handle your pain. Everybody can't handle. So why are we as individuals trying to make ourselves just fit for everybody else when we have to train people how to treat us and be okay with they just can't digest us? Everybody can't eat a steak. Everybody can't eat, you can't feed a baby a steak. They'll choke. Some people choke around you because they can't handle the call that's on your life. And we have to be okay with goodbyes. And that's what I had to learn in the midst of me healing. Because if I didn't heal properly, just like I've gone through so many surgeries and healing processes. So understanding the healing process, I had to understand that I couldn't have everybody around you. Just like in the operating room, in the OR, everybody has to be suited up. And that one person is not suited up properly, it can kill what's exposed. So being that I was in a vulnerable state, I had to understand who was around me. And that was my core. And my core had to understand, no, you're not good for Phebe right now. You're not, let's push her out. Or let's pull Phebe to a certain space. So it's more to just, it's not one way to do it. You have to understand and learn your body, learn who you are, and surround yourself by the necessary people who's going to keep you alive and not abort the baby or the call that's in your life, that's on your life, because, we have a mission in life to fulfill.
Now, on the bottom of the screen, Phoebe's screen, you can see that she has her website, Phebe, dfuqua.com, Phebe, DFUQUA.com. Contact her.
Yeah, I just want to add the support system is so important. Like in all three of our stories, like especially, with mine, how I can resonate is, being sexually assaulted, that's not easy to tell someone. So
No, you're right.
when you're looking for a support system, you're kind of lost in the beginning. Like it was very hard for me to find my people. And I think it's important for the listeners to also take note that, be that person if you feel like you can be, because it's hard for us to come to you sometimes. And, we need that, and in abusive relationships, specifically when it comes to like domestic violence and things like that, sometimes the abuser is going to make sure that you're secluded from your support system. So it makes it even harder to find that person or those people.
That's an important point. Yes.
It's so important to have that to survive, though. We're not meant to do life alone. Like that's period.
Right.
So
No.
it just makes it that much harder when you're in one of our situations, in one of our seats. So as a listener, if you're someone who doesn't resonate with our stories, but maybe you have a friend that is, reach out, be that hand, because you don't know what battles they're fighting where they can't get to you. So I think that's just so important.
And I do want to point out
I do want to add
that you
Oh,
had literally, Phoebe, more than one death sentence. Go ahead, say what you're going to say.
yeah, I wanted to just add a little bit more on what Erica was saying was with the support system. As a caregiver, it's important to understand highs and lows with when someone is sick. I've dealt with being sexually assaulted as well, Erica. So I understand that. And then dealing with health challenges, there's highs and lows where they're especially dealing with the tricky disease, multiple sclerosis. You don't look sick unless, when I was walking with a cane and in the wheelchair and all that stuff. But there are times where you can look fine, but feel horrible. And the caregiver has to understand that, okay, you were just fine at 5 o'clock and at 5:30, you're not fine. So being patient, being understanding as caregivers, and continuing to be that positive impact for them, learn the person. We as individuals who've gone through various things, whether it's sexual trauma or health challenges or dealing with relationships that had highs and lows, we have one point of view, but it's a horrible, lonely feeling when you have someone nursing and rehearsing what you're going through, the good, the bad, or whatever, or finding an excuse. Well, what could have you done differently to not be sexually assaulted? What could you have done differently to not get sick or whatever? Or I thought you were sick. All of those things. I've heard so many people say all those type of things, and you're already dealing with it. So to have someone nurse and rehearse it, like, yes, this is what I'm going through. Let's find the solution of how you can allow me to heal properly, and then also be a positive impact for people.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. That's wonderful. We'll come back. We got about 14 minutes left. I do want to get to Stephanie and have a question for you. Women many times do want to accomplish more, but sometimes they don't. What guidance would you give to any woman who wants to accomplish more?
Okay. So I knew that my story is about child sexual abuse, as well as my husband robbing a bank. My husband robbing a bank is not me actually doing that personal act, but it affected me because I'm in the relationship and we have a child together. But my story isn't, when I'm sharing my story, it's not to magnify the situation like, oh, my husband robbed a bank. And it's just to show you that situation, because all our stage are different. That's my stage. Everybody, Phoebe, her stage is her health and recovering. Erica, hers was childhood sexual abuse as well, as even when she was an adult. But that's the stage, that's life. They throw it at us daily, and we have to learn how to deal with it. It's not the stage, it's how you react to it. And it's the shame. What I'm hearing from all three of us it's the shame that you're hiding behind, or how society deem, the perfect life should look like. So I was just saying that just because of the different stories and how our stories intertwine. But as far as women wanting more of yourself, being in my situation, my husband, Robin O'Brien, gave me the leeway to point finger. Well, it's because of you. It's because of the husband you gave me. It's because of the life I'm living. It's because I was molested. I had a lot of reason, or I call them crutches, why I was where I was. But the truth is, I wanted more because I felt like there was more to me. But wanting more requires giving more of yourself. And giving more of yourself demands sacrifice. And I always use the analogy of a bank account. If you're not putting anything in, don't go look for anything to come out. So it's the time you put in to learn about the situation that you're in. How do I overcome this? Who else have gone through something like this? So my story tonight is not to be magnified, but what I want to leave with you, if you want more, it's how do I got over it? How did I get through it? That's what I want to leave with you. And wanting more requires more of you. So you got to do the hard things. And never try to change nobody. That's impossible. The only person you can change is yourself.
Well, that's great. We start with changing yourself. I love that. I wish we had more time. I feel like there's a whole bunch of more questions that I'd love to ask, and things that I would love everybody to answer. But we do have a couple of people on the Zoom with us. Raven McGee from Career Source, Volusia County. We have Kathleen from the Conventions of States organization. I just want to open up to either one of you. If there's a question for either Stephanie, Erica, or Phoebe about women's empowerment, or something that struck your heart, please feel free to join in and ask right now. And if you have something, just go. And as we're waiting for that, I'm going to have one more question for Phoebe. Tell me about self-care. What is self-care?
Before you can do anything with self-care, you have to know who you are. Learn who you are. Be okay with being with you. That's a part of self-care. A lot of times people do self-care and have to have people around them. If you don't know who you are, effectively know every part of your body, know what you like, know what triggers you, know what is healthy for you to even eat, then you can be an effective person for other people. So some of my self-care is in the midst of me not being able to do much, I learned my body. I learned every part of my body, as well as I learned what I liked all over again, and not what someone says, oh, Phoebe, you look good in blue. You should wear blue. Do I? Is that
Well,
something that I like? I'm wearing blue, but I was just giving that example. Understanding what Phoebe likes. What do I want to do? What makes me feel at peace? Because people scream they want happiness, but happiness comes and goes. What gives you peace that you can have a healthy balance in life? So taking time out, separating from the noise, going away in a silent place and truly hearing and getting downloaded. I mean, my spiritual walk with God, I have to separate and go so I can get a download. That's what I call it, get download. And so I can get recharged and go forth so I can be effective in my role that God has for me in my life.
So Raven has a question. You've unmuted. Go ahead, Raven. You're from Career Source. Tell us where you're from, and then tell us what your question is.
Okay, so yes, I'm Raven. I work for Career Source. I'm a career planner for Career Source in Flagler, Volusia County. I'm originally from New York, so I'm pretty new to the state of Florida.
I'm from New York too.
Yes. So my question was, because I am on the same path as you wonderful women, I think this is why I linked up to this group, because I too have a story to tell. But my question is, how do you tell a woman who want to start your type of movement, want to help the community, when they left what they knew to come to a whole new different environment, to start all over again because of past traumas? How do they start?
I would say first finding what resonates, what first find what you're comfortable telling. We have so much in our lives. There was a point of time that I wasn't comfortable sharing that I was raped before, comfortable sharing that I had all of these challenges going on in my body, or just comfortable sharing any challenges that happened in my life. I had to find what was comfortable for me and then what resonates with the path that God has for you. And then just write it all out, write everything out. And in the midst of you writing, you will find healing in it, because when you tell your story, you're going to feel something inside, whether it's, you're reliving everything over and over. So finding healing in the midst of it. And when you find healing in the midst of it, you'll be able to, while you're telling, you'll watch healing transform. While you're transforming and telling your story, you'll watch the transformation of healing in another woman's life who went through the same thing. So you can say, yes, baby, I went through all of that, and this is how I was able to overcome it, and showing them those roadmaps. So that's what I would say. I would start with writing everything out and finding what you feel comfortable telling.
Yeah, I would agree with I would agree with that. In addition to, like, my big thing is connections. So once you have that story that you're willing to tell, that you're willing to share, and being comfortable with that, is getting involved. If you're not quite ready to jump into, like, maybe starting your own organization right off the bat, but just getting involved with an organization that already exists, or finding other peers that have been through a similar situation, are going through the same path, because there are power in numbers. I was very highly influenced by other people as I was trying to find my voice and my visibility. I was influenced by some of the other organizations that I kind of was like, let me dip my toe here and let me talk to this person. And they seem to be going through something similar. And, just having that camaraderie, it actually does help connect all the dots. And then you're like, okay, now I see what I'm supposed to be doing with my story. It takes time, but I feel like those connections are important. So I guess in less terms, networking with other people that have been through the same thing.
Yes. And as for me, the advice I would give you is, the only thing that separates you from, I would say, us or somebody else on a bigger stage, is the level of confidence. And I always say, never speak from your wound, because you're still healing from it, but speak from your scar, because you've overcome it. It's already, there's a cap. And I always like to throw a Bible verse in. Jesus showed his scar. That means you've overcame it. So it's confidence you're not born with. It's something that is built. Having this meeting right now is another level of confidence for some of us. We're sharing, we're exposing, we're telling the world. So it's something that is built. So start small, and you'll definitely be amazing, because your story matter. I want to hear your story.
Yeah, we do. Raven, we appreciate that you've joined us and you opened up your heart. You have three amazing women here. I'll be happy to connect you with them and share your stories with them. I just want to move to one other thing. I want to just let everybody know that, well, this is Returning Youth Initiative, formed by Dr. Surajit Khanna. It's a nationwide, and our initiative really is about returning youth out of prison, out of incarceration, back into society, and to helping them before they get into trouble. And that's part of why I selected these wonderful women to join us, so that people can, I know we're reaching out to women, but that women can see that there's hope before they get into trouble. We've heard about drug abuse. We've heard about sexual assault today. We've heard about being incarcerated, and all of these women have experience with all three of those things. So if we can get people to seek the help they need, then they won't go down a path of getting incarcerated. So please contact us if you're interested in returningyouth.com, returningyouth.com. My email is Gary@returningyouth.com. We have just 2 more minutes yet. I want to make sure to go through all 3 of the women and make sure that we can get their comments and their contacts. So let's go. Erica, you go first, please.
Sure. So you can contact me several ways. Phone number is 386-287-1845, and I will drop that into the Zoom chat as well. My email is erica@ntlcarefoundation.org. The website is ntlcarefoundation.org, and on all social media platforms, NTL Care Foundation, all uniformed, hopefully easy to remember. But yes, for the listeners and anyone watching, if you're in need of victims advocacy or resources for a traumatic situation, whether that is domestic, sexual, homelessness,
Thank you, Erica. I'm going to move on because we have 50 seconds. Thank you, Erica.
Oh, okay. Didn't realize it was 50 seconds.
Stephanie, go ahead. How do people contact you?
Okay, so you can contact me at icreateher.com. My phone number is 386-675-7867. And I'm also on YouTube or Facebook. You could type in Create Her or Stephanie Harrington and it will come up as well.
Go ahead, and Phoebe.
Hello, everyone. You can reach me at phebedfuqua.com. I'm also on all of the social media platforms. You can reach me there. And also my contact information is 386-401-4181. I look forward to
all. We appreciate it. We'll see you on the air. Good day.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us. This is amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We're off the air. We can stay on and continue to record if you'd like.
Okay.
I didn't realize it was 50 seconds that quick, but I dropped it all in the chat.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but
oh no, you're fine. You're fine.
we got a bunch of messages here. Thank you, Raven. I got to write that down. Raven, we appreciate your comments.
Yeah, thank you for your contact information. I will be reaching out, call my bluff. But I do have a lot of questions and I am very eager to start helping the community and other Ravens in the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you got the perfect name.
Thank you.
The brand all by itself.
Right.
Well, Raven, did you know in Daytona, did you know there's a Raven Church?
No, I did not know that. No.
Right in Daytona, Raven Church.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know how, and I live in Daytona. I don't know how I don't know that.
Actually, it's right off of International Speedway, so it's at a pretty popular intersection.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Raven, would you mind dropping your contact info in the chat box as well?
Not at all.
Yeah,
I would actually, that's an
awesome.
honor because I believe God sent me here for a reason.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, what am I doing this platform? All these wonderful women who are so much more experienced than me.
Oh, by the way, wait, let me ask a question of everybody before we go on. I'm still recording. Are you comfortable with keeping this piece in the recording, or would you rather me not?
I'm comfortable. I don't know. I don't even know.
Everybody? Yeah.
Yeah.
When I post the recording, we're going to include this, if that's okay. If not, that's fine.
It's still going off Facebook Live, so it's okay.
Right.
I think it's great.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure.
It's the authentic.
Yeah.
We're not on the radio anymore.
Fine.
I don't think we are. The control room is still there. Usually they disconnect me, but we may be on the radio. So we'll get some free
Hello,
airtime.
everybody.
Yeah,
I
we're
get the
still on
warning now.
Facebook for sure.
I had
Yeah.
fun. I hope I was fair to everybody. I tried very hard to be fair and let everybody hear the story. If I didn't, I apologize. But I think we did a pretty good job.
Yes, we did. Yes.
Very
And I'm very inspired by everyone's story. I congratulate every one of you for sharing your personal story. I know it's not easy, but my heart melts when I see other women sharing their story, especially locally, because right here in our community, there's people who have their own story, may not be exactly the same, but they're afraid and they're hiding behind shame. And shame it's not a physical shackle, it's a mental,
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
I was gonna say I did feel empowered. I feel like the word empowerment gets thrown around a lot. We talk about women's empowerment a lot, but I'm always trying to seek the action behind that and the feeling behind that. And I truly felt that today with you ladies. So thank you, everyone who's a part of this call.
Well, and remember,
you.
I heard your stories, all you wonderful women in the past, and it broke my heart. I just felt more people need to hear what you have to say, because these are, like it was said more than once today, these are things people don't talk about, but they should.
Thank you for having us, Gary, and giving us that platform.
yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Absolutely.
I love
Thank
you all. Thank you all. Join us on Facebook. I'll get that video out, but give me a few days, please.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless
Thanks
you
for letting
all.
me sneak in, guys.
Returning
Crash the party.
No, you didn't. We loved having you, baby.
Yes, thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
No,
you for sharing.
you made this real.
Awesome. Awesome. I'll talk to all of you very soon for sure.
God bless
All
you.
right.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Bye.
Right.